I really feel as though New York City needs a change in mayors. And right now, the candidates that are running for mayor against Bill de Blasio, I really believe cannot beat him. I mean, we have a Republican candidate that actually, Queens County asked me to go to a primary debate, and I beat her 16-3, and I wasn't even a Republican, so I don't understand how she's going to beat de Blasio. My point is that there's a lot of issues in New York City. My background, I grew up in Ozone Park. My mother's from Sicily. My father was from Germany. Both parents are dead. I learned work ethics when I was 7, 8 years old. I delivered at the Long Island Press. I worked as a laborer on the World Trade Center, then an iron worker in the World Trade Center. I became a cop. I had a great career, and I volunteered to be a decoy where I was mugged 500 times. I was stabbed. I was shot at. I was hospitalized 30 times. I had a great career. Some of the biggest cases in New York. I was fortunate to be involved. The Palm Sunday Massacre, 10 dead in Brooklyn, and also the nun rape in the convent in East Harlem. I've been running a business for 32 years. I ran for United States Congress back in 1986. I lost by 2,500 votes being the United States Congressman. In an area it was 7-1, I ran as a Republican. I now filed as a Democrat back last August, but mysteriously I was knocked off the Democratic line. I went to Supreme Court, I went to Appellate Court, I went to the Court of Appeals. Mysteriously, Mayor de Blasio's general counsel was sitting in the courtroom each time. He's afraid of one person in this election, and that's Bo Dietl. I am now an independent candidate. I'm a registered Democrat, but I'm running as an independent. My line is dump the mayor. And I'll be very honest with you. I think that this mayor deserves to be reelected. And I think there's a lot of issues, and we can get into whatever issues you want. As far as school goes, my daughter's a school teacher in the South Bronx. You know, my first thing would be, there'll be a ban on cell phones in the schools when teachers are trying to teach, because it's not all about the Board of Education. What it's about is about the teachers, the hardworking teachers that want to be able to teach our kids. You know, when you have a 29% reading and 29% math for the Black and Hispanic kids in New York City passing, I got a problem with that. There's a lot of other issues. I hope I get some good questions asked upon me. Thank you very much.
So my first question for you, Mr. Dietl, do you believe in broken windows policing?
Well, I believe in that, the broken windows policing. You know, the woman that was killed up in the Bronx, the police officer that was shot in the head not too long ago, that culprit there was arrested for jumping turnstile, also public urination. I really believe if you start banging down and start the small crimes, and they still are crimes in my book. There's a thing called public lewdness in New York State. It's the penal law, and it's a B misdemeanor when you expose yourself. Next, you're going to have some sexual pervert in this park, and he's going to say, well, I was just urinating. It's not criminal right now. I really believe that the broken windows are very important. We got to keep, I was around in the 70s and the 80s, and I saw what turns out when you keep letting them go further and further. It's like if I have an apartment, and I come home and I take my clothes off, I throw them on the floor. Eventually I have 3 feet of clothes in my apartment. It's going to be a mess. We've got to keep New York straight. I've seen it go back. This homelessness problem that we have right now is just expanding more and more, and it's really a serious thing. And I really believe the respectfulness of police officers to the community must be there both ways. The community must respect the cop, and the cop must respect the community.
Bay Terrace's northern and eastern boundaries are water play. What plans do you have to protect not only our community, but also Northeast Queens and the entire city from what's happening in Houston and Texas currently?
Well, you know, we were all around with Hurricane Sandy, and my thoughts go out to the poor people in Houston. A lot of people from New Orleans that were devastated moved over to Houston, and now they're getting it again. They're getting a double whammy there. In respect to that, you know, I'm from Queens again. The issues of Bay Terrace, when you're the mayor, that's part of a city. I've been in Brooklyn, Staten Island, South Queens, Bronx, Washington Heights. I've been to Dominican Republic. I went there for 28 hours. I landed in Puerto Plata. I went to Santo Domingo, and then I went up to the capital city, And I went all over the Dominican Republic, and everyone says, why would you go to the Dominican Republic? You're running for mayor of New York City. There are 1 million Dominicans in New York City, and they're the same people. The difference between me and every other person running for political office, I'm not a politician. I'm a grandfather, I'm an ex-detective, I'm a businessman for 32 years, very successful, tens of millions of dollars, sold a $200 million company in security technology. I work hard. I authored 3 books, been in plenty of movies. But you know why I'm running right now? Because we must have someone to challenge this current mayor. And this city could go back into the toilet bowl, literally, the way that he's turning it out to be. And all these statistics that he's jumping around with when he's talking about education, when you start to look, the statistic I was trying to say was 27% of Latinos and 24% of black are failures in math. And 29% of both populations are failing in English. I got a problem. I got a problem also when teachers can't teach. You got to disrupt the student. Here's my other problem, is the crime in the city schools. You have school safety officers. They're instructed to take drugs that are brought into school, flush them down the toilet. Weapons, confiscate. Do not make police reports. Maybe that's why the crime statistics are down.
Thank you. So, just to change it around a little bit, here in Bay Terrace, we're a community. We have a large number of co-ops and condos. I'm the co-president of an association representing 70 different co-ops and condos in Northeast Queens. So my question is, state law limits how much the assessed value of a Class 1 property in New York City, which are predominantly private homes, can go up each year. It cannot go up more than 6% from the year before or over 20% over 5 years. With a Class 2 property, which includes co-ops and condos, there is no limit. Would you support legislation in Albany that would provide Class 2 properties, which are co-ops and condos, with the same tax protections afforded to Class 1 properties? And the reason I ask this of a mayoral candidate is because Albany will not pass this legislation unless the mayor of New York City signs off on it and says it's okay.
Well, I come from Ozone Park, like I said, my mom owned the house. The biggest problems here now I think people are facing are the tax burden that is on small homeowners and also people who own co-ops about their affordability of the places that they live. And we don't even know, there's no sign, there's no reason to the way that we're taxed in New York City. When you got Brooklyn is, I think, 25% less taxed than Queens, and Manhattan's something different. There's got to be some sort of a semblance of some kind of criteria that we tax people. Again, a lot of the homeowners are senior citizens. They're facing the fact that maybe they can't afford to live here anymore if the taxes are too high. Tale of two cities, we got a mayor that is all he does is take money from the rich developers. $15 billion on the West Side Yards, my friend Steve Ross built over there. Not one affordable housing, not one affordable apartment over there. It is a tale of two cities. And this mayor has been dividing the tale of two cities. To answer that question more specifically, I'd like to look at it and understand it better. I'm not a politician. I don't come here saying I know everything, but I'd look at it. But I know one thing. Senior citizens, you got senior citizen centers that I'm very supportive of. When people become, I'm a senior citizen too, I'm 66. But when people get older, they have one family member might be sick. They like maybe 3-4 hours out of the house. I'd like to get some sort of assistance. They've been paying damn taxes their whole life. We should give them a little bit of relief. I feel for senior citizens, also same with the veterans. This is something that I don't think this mayor knows from. And I really care about people that own their homes. I have a partner who's Asian. My partner's from Beijing, China. I have an office there. I'm very familiar with the Chinese community. That is the community that doesn't complain. They go through it. The poverty level so much there, and you never hear a complaint from my Chinese New York City voters.
I'm going to take a question from the audience that'll actually save a question for me. Will you support smoke-free housing as mayor?
I hate smoking. I hate smoking, and my kids, when I see them with a cigarette, it disgusts me, and I would definitely support that. And I'd like our mayor to know smoke-free housing means no pot smoking either, Mr. Mayor. Okay? And I do know for a fact, okay? So when he starts preaching, he better start preaching from a pulpit. He better watch the little J's that's been in his mouth. And I mean that. And when I debate him, which he can't avoid me, because I raised over the $1 million threshold, he has to debate me. He tried to get me off this Democratic line. But come October, come November, first thing, I shouldn't give it away. I was going to ask him for a blood test, but I don't think I should. As far as that goes, I mean, help to people are, look, we're all facing health crisis. Cancer is on the upsurge. Thank God that we have the wonderful hospitals we have. Murders are down. You know why murders are down? In the 1970s, you got shot. You went to the emergency room. You know what happened? You ended up dying most of the time. Today, the great trauma surgeons in our hospitals are saving people. That's why murders are down. Someone gets shot, they go to the hospital, they're likely to survive. It's not because of something that Bill de Blasio did. Our officers, our women and men of the New York City Police Department are putting their lives on every day, and they get so much resistance. They dislike this mayor. 8 out of 10 cops said they would go for another job if they found another job. I want morale of the cops to come up. I love community policing. I want cops and communities to look the same, and I want to waive the 2-year college requirement. Let kids out of high school go in the police department. Get your college degree while you're in there. And as far as I'm concerned, I want our police department to reflect our communities so people have a good rapport with them. Thank you. Rikers Island? Hey, no Rikers Island? Rikers Island, give
Not yet, that's coming. Out here in Northeast Queens, not only Northeast Queens, but different parts of Queens, even parts of Brooklyn and Bronx, we have a huge problem with airplane noise. Both from LaGuardia Airport, Kennedy Airport, especially since they've instituted the new flight patterns, the next-gen flight patterns. There was news that just came out of Phoenix today that Phoenix actually brought a lawsuit against the FAA, and they were successful. There was a federal court in Phoenix that ordered the FAA to roll back those flight patterns. They found that their actions were arbitrary and capricious. As mayor, would you be willing to bring such a lawsuit against the FAA?
Again, you know, we're here at Bay Terrace. When you're a mayor of New York City, you got to be a mayor of all 5 boroughs, and you got to look at all the things that we're speaking about, like when you talked before about the ferry and all that. I'd like to look at it, but in reality, we just spent, the state's spending, I think, $3 billion over at LaGuardia Airport. I don't think they're closing it anytime soon. But with that said, the engine capacity of the volume of the noise level has been diminished a lot since 20 years ago. So, I mean, I would look at it, and if that's a serious issue to the majority, I got to go by the majority of the people. Same thing is, I don't want to be like de Blasio. I am not beholden to the Democrats nor the Republicans. You know who I'm beholden to? You, the people of New York. So you tell me what you want. If you want the noise level to go down, we'll put a referendum up there. You then vote for what you want. That's what the mayor should do. The mayor only serves the people of New York. He doesn't serve himself. As far as the airplane noise, I look at it. I don't like to answer questions if I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't want to be like the current mayor that has answers to everything, even though he's not telling the truth half the times.
Okay, my last question.
I know you from years ago. You and I. You were there.
I wasn't on the job. I'm taking a question from 4 years ago, and that's, if you become mayor, will you commit to having a town hall meeting right here in Bay Terrace within the first year of your term as mayor with all your agency commissioners?
I'll commit to that right now, but I'm going to tell you something better than that. I have a press release going on Thursday, which I challenge Mayor de Blasio, being that I'm the only real candidate for mayor of New York that can beat this stiff, I say to him, I'd like to debate him 2 times in every one of these boroughs leading up to election day. And I'd like to come here at one of the debates and have de Blasio stand to me with all those phony numbers. The poor Sal Albanese the other night, he batted him down. Poor Sal couldn't talk. I'll be able to talk to him because I got statistics that he's not going to want to see. Crime is down because half the crimes are not being reported. Like I said, I've talked to the head of the school safety officers. The union boss, he said, we are instructed our officers, when drugs are brought into school, flush them down the toilet. When weapons come in, confiscate them. Do not call the police. Yeah, I got a real problem with his statistics. And I also got a problem with people being stuck on the subway, which I was on the A train for 25 minutes. This guy's got $4 billion in surplus. People are being stuck. Release $500 million. Fix the damn thing. And let's worry about after that. Who's going to pay for it?
Thank you. How many closing?
All right, my closing. I got a little closing to you. You know what? Right now, there's only one candidate that can beat de Blasio. It's obvious what he's tried to do to me. I just put 16,000 petitions. Mysteriously, was a page missing in the middle of the first 10,000. Someone ripped the page out. My lawyers notified him that the FBI will be notified if there's any more games. Mayor de Blasio controls a lot. His tentacles go into the Board of Election like they go everywhere else. Why was his attorney sitting in my courtrooms? My whole thing is, when you got a candidate, the Republican candidate was against she was against same-sex marriage. She was against the minimum wage. She was against increasing the MTA transit funding. I mean, you can't have a candidate that is a Republican in the city that's 9-1. That's why I am a registered Democrat, because I want to appeal to the masses of the people, and I want to be the mayor of the people, not the Democrats, not the Republicans. Too many damn politicians. I'm a grandfather. I got a 2-year-old grandson. I care about New York. Believe me, I wish I wasn't here, but I'm here now for one reason, to win as your next mayor, and I'll do it. I'm a fight. I fought on the streets of New York in the 1970s and 80s. I gave my blood there. I'm back now, and I want to really take this guy out. And he's afraid of me for some reason. Please, on election day, I'll be there November 7th. You will have a choice. I'm an independent Democratic candidate. Bo Dietl. It's a little hard name to say. Find it, click it, and you'll get a mayor that cares. And I will be back here, okay? I'll make a commitment as mayor. We will be back here in Queens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dietl.